Okay, we're live here. We're live. We're testing. We gotta make sure we got audio. Join us live. Going now with Jacob Neffendorf.
Go get the link.
Have you vibe coded at all yet?
Yes.
It's
I haven't
so
set up like a full like funnel where you can do like you did to create a bunch of pages on and on and on. But yeah, I have made. The one thing I can't really figure out is a consistent like editing process on the back end.
for vibe coding.
Yeah, like you get a website out and then having the way I did it was just like the fastest way I could do it without necessarily going to have it set up in a nice framework where our people could come in and make edits and stuff.
Hey, good morning. If any of you are joining us now, we're going to let a few more people join here before we kick off. If you are joining, oh sweet. Good morning, Matt. Filed his LLC. Rock and roll. Morning, Andy. If y'all are joining live, let us know where you're joining from. And yeah, Jacob's here hanging out in Colorado, so we're gonna be just hanging out as long as you guys want to go with Q&A. We're gonna be talking all things AI and systems today. Speaking of systems, one of the systems that we have in place is Skool. Skool's a pretty cool platform, huh?
Very cool.
I'm glad that they built this because it makes it easy. Well, a lot easier than it used to document systems and do video trainings and things like that. I was talking with somebody the other day from Skool, actually. Dude, I think Skool could be an awesome, like companies could do internal company documentation and trainings because it's set up so well to just section things out into modules.
Yep. Yeah, and of course High Level does that, but it's a little cleaner.
Yeah,
user friendly in here.
We're going to get into High Level today. High Level is the system that we use, both Jacob and I use for leads, pipeline, capturing when people come through Facebook, Google, website, and then sending them texts and email sequences, putting them in a sales pipeline. But it is clunky. It's absolutely clunky. That's the only thing I don't like about it. All right. If anybody's tuning in, we're going to be kicking off here in a couple minutes. So if you're joining live, let us know where you're from in the comments and what business you operate. And we're going to have some fun today. All right. I had grand visions of doing like an actual podcast where we like set up, multiple cameras. Then I realized I didn't have multiple cameras. We got multiple mics though. How's audio for everybody? Good morning, Andy. AI has been hugely helpful for me so far. Good morning. Good morning. Hey, Andy, Matt, does audio sound good for y'all? Could you give me a comment? Yes. And if it's bad, Jacob, you want to go test?
Test, mic check.
Test. Audio good? Good morning, Forrest. Forrest is on. Good morning, Forrest.
What's up, Forrest?
Hey, can somebody give me an audio check? Okay, Andy said I sound good. How about Jacob?
Check. Buenos dias.
Buenos dias. Okay, let's rock and roll. Welcome back to another episode of the OWNR OPS Podcast. I'm your host, Austin Gray. Got my friend Jacob joining today. Rise Online Ads. Jacob, what are we going to be talking about today?
for land clearing.
Dude, I have a habit. We're going to have to redo that. Watch this. So I have a habit over here of clicking mute whenever I stop talking, because whenever you're recording from another spot, I don't want to pick up audio. So let's do it again. All right, welcome back to another episode of the OWNR OPS Podcast. I'm your host, Austin Gray. I've got my friend Jacob Neffendorf from Rise Online Ads joining today. Jacob, what are we going to talk about?
AI and simple systems for land clearing, and how if you could fix your system and just get one more job per month, you could make 6 figures or more a year without spending any more money.
That's a bold claim right there. So
it's truth.
Let's just talk about like what are systems? Like everybody throws around that term.
Yep.
What does it mean to have a system inside your land clearing or forestry mulching business?
Well, number one, it's not keeping track of everything on just a notepad that you can spill coffee on or lose or blow away in the wind. But beyond that, it's being able to track every bit of opportunity that comes into your business, what it does from that point to when you talk to them, to when you try to work with them, to after you work with them, or if you never worked with them, following up. And a lot of guys are great at sales when they get in person. But the leaky bucket in most businesses that I see that have leads coming in is that in between. They usually are pretty bad at the lead to getting to the in-person phase.
Okay, so let's talk about this. Lead comes in through whether it be Facebook or Google Ads. What do we need to do at that point?
Well, they definitely need to be dropping into a system, because most of you are going to be driving, or you're going to be in the machine, or you're going to be out at a job. And you need that information to be captured somewhere where you can easily follow up with them later. So, the first thing I wanted to say was, hey, we need to make sure we call them and talk to them immediately. Under 5 minutes, brownie points for under 60 seconds. But in the case that doesn't happen, or that you're not sitting at a computer, you want that information to land somewhere and be able to be referenced and used later.
Okay, so let's just pull up a system here. I'm going to do a screen share. And why don't you just break down these different pipelines? And guys, for anybody joining who's a part of Jacob's group, this is the same system. It's built on top of the same platform. So I'm logged into my OWNR OPS account. This is the same thing that Jacob uses from a Rise perspective. His pipeline and deal stages may be set up a little bit different. But let's just talk about this. So what is this that we're looking at here?
Yeah, so this is called a pipeline. To me, this is where your sales process lives. So when you set it up right, when somebody fills out your form or fills out your lead form on Facebook or your website, whatever, they should drop into that new lead section. Now, it really warms my heart that Austin's here has 0 in the new lead section, because that means he's done something with all of them. And I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, every company working with us that does 7 figures or more, this pipeline is used daily. That is a clear definition of guys who are doing better versus guys who are not. Guys who are struggling, I will come in here and I will see 170 opportunities in the new lead section and nothing moved through. So what these stages do on the very most simple level is help you keep track of where people are at. Have you contacted them? Have you actually scheduled an appointment to go look at their property? Did they close? Do you need to follow up with them? And then on the back end, there's a bazillion things you can do in terms of automations when you move people around in here to notify team members, to send notifications to the customer, like invoice paid. Sweet, they get moved to invoice paid. Review request automatically goes out. Guess what? When you automatically send reviews through a process, you're going to get more reviews. That is one small part of a system. A system doesn't rely on you remembering to do something. It happens for you.
Yeah, so I see in the comments here, currently line on my to-do list is setting up Zapier to fill out my Google Sheets from the customer form. Yeah, and that's great. Like, So let's talk Zapier. Do y'all use that inside?
Of course, yes. Yep.
So for anybody joining here who has never heard of the software Zapier, Jacob, what is Zapier? Yes, it did. Guys, hey, anybody who's listening to this, if I accidentally mute us, because I have a habit of doing this on the podcast, please just jump in the comments, be like, Austin, you muted us. Stop doing that.
Yeah, so Zapier is basically the connector of all things. It allows you to connect most everything. There's a lots of like built-in, but you can use webhooks and APIs to connect just about anything and make it talk or do what you want it to do. So what Andy was just talking about there is the most simple form of a system and a CRM you can do nowadays. And I used to do this a long time ago. So lead comes in, Zapier takes that information from the lead and drops it into a Google Sheet for you. And you can even do more from that with Zapier. You can have it send out emails and texts and things like that from that Google Sheet. So, using a system like High Level gives you a lot more options, but it does cost a little more money and it has, a little more learning curve. This right here is a way simpler way to do it. And they've added all kinds of AI into here. So you can just come talk to the Zapier AI and be like, hey, when a lead comes in from my website, I want this to happen. And it will just, fill out most of it for you.
Yeah, this is super cool. So like just to paint the picture of what you can do in Zapier. So catching a hook, a webhook is something that's triggered online and you're capturing data from a form that somebody's submitting. And then you can see like here, we have this split into paths. This is I guess this is a bad example because it's a little bit more complex, but based on two different conditions, you can send it down path A or path B. But you can see here that we're sending a Slack message to our team. So every time we get a lead, like what is the most important thing on the lead?
Speed to lead.
Speed to lead, right? So in my opinion, everybody who's involved with the sales process should be getting that notification, not only on one place, but in multiple forms of communication. So we're hitting it Slack, email, and then we are sending also text notifications as well to myself as the owner, and then also sales rep on the back end. And what this allows us to do is we're able to say, okay, this was from a form. They had a drop down. They chose a service, fire mitigation. We're able to say, okay, this was a fire mitigation lead. First name and last name of the lead came in. Here's their phone number, and then here's their email. And we send that on Slack, which is our internal communication tool. And then we also send this through SMS. So Zapier has a really cool function to where you can just connect any cell phone number directly to Zapier. And then you can just text it from a number. And so this happens as soon as a lead fills out the form. So whenever you guys have heard me talk about, hey, call the lead within 5 seconds or 10 seconds, some of you might be thinking like, oh, that's unrealistic. It's not unrealistic when you have the automation set up. I called 2 leads yesterday, 2 $6,000 jobs, and they were ready to rock and roll. They were like, if you could get here right now, I would pay you to do it, basically. And so what we're doing with speed to lead and with automations is we're capturing the information and we're getting to them before they can go Google search somebody else.
That's a good point. People who are that ready and that serious, if you don't answer, they're just going to call the next person because they're valuing time.
Yep.
And that is where I always say it's our responsibility as the business owner when somebody raises their hands to reach out to them fast and often because they value time.
Yeah.
And they reached out, they raised their hand to us.
And some of these people too, it's like price is not the objection.
No.
It's like this guy yesterday, he's about to install a pool. And he's like, I've been clearing 1.5 acres on my own. And I've got the pool guys lined up. The thing holding him back was clearing. And he wanted it done yesterday.
Yep.
So we've got a site visit in person scheduled today, and better believe that we're going to move on that as quick as possible. But the only way that we're able to capture that is because we have the automation set up. And if you're working with Jacob on the back end, I know he's got all of these set up for any of his growth clients as well.
Absolutely. What are the chances that you will see a lead while we're live?
I don't know. You tell me.
Like, I know you'll probably get a lead, but I'm saying, will you see it? Or are you on Do Not Disturb?
Let's see. I have a work setting set up to where,
because that would be pretty sweet if the lead came in and we could just watch you work it live.
Put me on the spot. I turned it off here. But we've got but yeah, we'll do it if it comes in. By all means. I think the last 2 times we've talked, we've had to end the conversation, huh?
Yep. I'm always happy to be hung up on because somebody's got to call a lead.
Yeah, and that is something too. And like we set the standard internally. I think a lot of guys may think, oh, I'm talking to one of my team members and I'm the owner and like they should, always listen to what I have to say. It's like, put your ego aside, tell your team members if they're doing sales, I don't care who we're talking to. If we get a lead, like that is the number one most priority, or highest priority.
Absolutely.
So like if we're in a meeting, I don't even care if we're in our team meeting and the salesperson gets a lead, that is highest priority. Because sales drives everything. And this is how you win at sales. You can see on the automations here, lead connector is what?
The white label of high level. Yeah, so Zapier, that's where I say it's the connector of all things. So right here, we're connecting website, Facebook, Slack, high level, Google Sheets, Jobber, like everything can kind of be connected in one place, it's nice versus building out a workflow over here and a workflow over here and a workflow over here.
Think of Zapier as the glue. It's just the glue. Now, everybody always wants to know, like, how much is Zapier? Isn't it another subscription? Yes, it is. And I checked my billing yesterday because I knew we were going to be talking about this. It's $30 a month. It's literally $30 a month to have all this code working for you on the back end. If you were to pay somebody to do all of this manually,
$1,000 a month, easy.
How tedious would that be? Every single time that you got a lead to go do all these steps.
Oh, to do it yourself? Oh yeah, no, absolutely not. And a lot of guys definitely try, and that's why they have leaky buckets and why they miss things.
That's my first goal through Zapier. Get a text about new customer contact form submission. Yes, absolutely. So how and what are you using to create or set up your pipeline? So here's 2 things. Like I mentioned earlier, go high level, which is what we built our OWNR OPS system on, which is what Jacob built his Rise system on. It is a sales and automation CRM. Now, you take all your guys through this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do any of your guys use Jobber?
Yes.
Okay. You can do one of 2 things. Like if you're doing this on your own, Andy, the easiest and the most user-friendly, in my opinion, is Jobber. Jobber is great for capturing data and putting it into a database so that you don't have to use pen and paper. It is great for sending quotes, scheduling jobs, and sending invoices and collecting payments. What it's not great at is the sales and marketing process. Go high level, aka what you're looking at right now, is a sales and marketing CRM. And so we use Go High Level and Jobber and then connect the 2 with, what's the glue?
Zapier.
With Zapier. Zapier is the connector of all things. And so the simplest format is pick one or the other. Do you have any say on that?
Yeah, I think Jobber is a better, no, I shouldn't say better. It's an easier user interface, like a less learning curve. They kind of just have it set up. But because of that, you have less control. Like you kind of got to do it their way for the most part. Versus high level, you can do a lot more things. You can have a lot more customization. And I believe it's a little cheaper depending on how you get into its ecosystem. but it's a lot more setup. So that's where like people like us, we have our snapshots, they call it, which is basically the template of how our high levels are set up. And they're both set up for this type of business. So we kind of fast forward you to having a lot of that set up. And then we just sort of make small customization tweaks for your business once you're in there.
So guys, we're on the back end of Jobber. We're not going to spend a lot of time on this. I have tons of YouTube videos on Jobber. So if you want to learn more about it, just search how to use Jobber as a beginner. And I think we're one of the top 3 videos on YouTube. So I do a full comprehensive overview of quotes, jobs, invoices, payments, all that stuff. But on the back end here, Jobber is good as a baseline. If you want to start out with using Jobber, it is set up out of the box to send professional quotes, to schedule jobs, to send professional invoices. What it lacks is a sales and marketing CRM. And you can see down here, they have a marketing section, they have a sales section. This is a lab right now. I've talked a lot with their team on the back end. I keep asking if they're going to build this out, because in my mind, the perfect solution is a blend of Go High Level and Jobber. Like that would be the end all be all solution, especially for us in land clearing and forestry mulching. Because if you're just using Jobber, you're missing out on some of the important features, which will transition the conversation back to that. Because this, in my mind, as a sales and marketing guy, is the most important piece. If you don't have the sales and marketing automation,
yeah, you should be living by this pipeline. And if you're not, then you probably don't know your numbers. And if you don't know your numbers, you're probably not making good decisions in your business.
So this is in beta right now, which means it's like pre-launch in Jobber. This is part of their lab. I've asked them if they are going to build out text and email sequences and automations as part of the stages. I have not got an answer yet. And so that is the reason why we continue to use Go High Level.
Well, and Jobber just released like a month or 2 ago a true integration with High Level.
Yeah.
So that may be the route they're going of like, hey, let's just foster this relationship instead of trying to do too much over there.
For sure, for sure. So here's what I would recommend, Andy, for you. The most important thing is to capture your lead, whether that be from Facebook leads, Google leads, or website, and get it into a CRM. Either pick Go High Level or pick Jobber. Because in the early days, the most important thing is just capturing the customer information, storing it somewhere online so that you don't have to search notes, pen and paper. Any questions on that, guys? Did that answer your question? What are you using to set up your pipeline, Andy? If it didn't, put more questions in the chat. Does anybody else have any questions there before we transition back to more in-depth version of going through this pipeline here? Okay, Jacob, what do you have set up inside the pipeline? Like when a new lead comes in and they go into that new lead stage, what happens?
So internal notification, text, app, and email going to the business owner of all of the lead information. And I like to put in big bold letters at the top, new lead, contact now. And then from there, it's going to immediately, well, I actually build in a 30-second wait time just so that it doesn't seem too crazy robotic. And I want it to sound kind of like a person. So it's, hey, Austin, this is Jacob with Jacob's Land Solution. Just saw you filled out that form. Insert question. My favorite question is, when's a good time to talk? For guys who don't have as much time, they're really in the owner-operator stage. We will put in a question like, can you tell me more about your project? Or can you send me a pin? Or can you send me pictures? And then from there, we have a couple automations set up where if they engage with that, they get moved out of new lead to engaged lead. So you can kind of get an eye on that. That helps me on the back end as well as, as well as them. And then from there, it's kind of, we do lots of different things for different people.
Yeah.
One of my favorite little cool automations in there is the call connect feature. personally, if everybody agreed with me, I would have this standard no matter what. What it does is it calls your phone, the business owner, it calls your phone as soon as a lead comes in.
Yeah.
So it seems like you're getting a call. So whatever you're doing, and then you're like, hello, and it's like, new lead. Austin has 5 acres in Central Texas. Press 1 to connect. And so you just press 1, and then it's like you're calling the lead now.
Yeah.
It pushes you to call the lead. So we have that set up with some guys, but kind of the sky's the limit from there.
Yeah, for sure. And that is an automation that you can set up here within Go High Level. I love that feature. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, me too.
So like when I answer the phone,
Mhm.
when people call, if I'm handling sales, Bearclaw Land Services, this is Austin. How may I help you? I had to get used to that thing calling
Oh yeah.
first.
Yeah.
Because, and correct me if I'm wrong, the way that it works is whenever the system calls you as the rep, it then connects you after you press 1 to the lead by calling the number that they filled out. Correct.
Mhm.
So it would be the same thing as if you picked up the phone and just called that lead. Correct.
Yeah.
So when you call that lead, you need to use your same inbound phone script.
Correct.
As opposed to like they're calling you.
Right. Yeah. You're outbound. Yeah, you're outbound. Yeah. And that is something to get used to. But what I notice is, and it's happened to me, is you're pretty good, but then you get caught up in something and you don't see a text. So that's just another layer of getting to that lead quicker. And a lot of people do not believe that speed to lead and follow up can literally make them millions of dollars more. But I did the math with one of our clients the other day, and the statistics show massive improvement with speed to lead and follow up. But he was closing 8% of his leads, and we found out that if he could go to closing 10% of his leads, 2% lift, no more leads, no more spend, that he could make $120,000 more a year. And he's a one-man operation, so it's like, tell me that's not worth it.
Yeah, for sure. So let's talk. All right, you contact them. Speed the lead. There seems to be 2 options that typically happen on the phone at that point. But I'm curious to hear how y'all have your pipeline set up on the back end. It's from a stage perspective.
Yeah, so we have new lead, engaged lead,
Okay.
which means they just responded to either you or the automation.
Yep.
And then contacted, meaning you actually talk to them. Then from there, I like to have, we customize this for everybody, but there's a baseline. So the baseline is estimate, estimate booked, estimate accepted, job booked, paid, review requested, follow up, bad lead.
Okay.
That's how I go.
So let's do this. Let's go over to the Texas pipeline. And I want you to coach me up here. So the way that I built this one out is we got a new lead here. We've got contact attempted.
Okay.
We've got qualified lead, meaning I've talked to them over the phone and I've confirmed that they are a real person. 2, the phone number works. 3, they're actually looking for the service and they actually have a property.
Yep.
And they are looking for it within a reasonable time frame.
Yeah.
So I have qualified here.
Yeah.
Then I have site visit scheduled, which I need to move these over.
See how easy that was?
So I need to move these over
That's
to let you know here. In my mind, a qualified lead is somebody that I need to be actively nurturing and working on a daily basis. What would you change about this process, Jacob?
I wouldn't. I think it's just a different perspective. So instead of having qualified for us, if they're staying anywhere in there, they're qualified. Or if they're not, they just get moved over to a bad lead column. For some guys, we went a little further in that and we say out of service area or whatever, but bad lead is the minimum. And so what the account managers for us do is they go in weekly, if not more, and check these things to see, okay, there's bad leads. Where do they come from? How do we get less of those? Okay, they scheduled site visits. They have jobs booked. They have paid jobs. Where did those come from? You can see here, opportunity source. You can add lots more fields there. And then if we have somebody who's struggling, then we go even further and look into the engaged lead, contact attempted type stages and see, okay, have they tried to call more than once? Guys, huge hack, double dial. I had to do this to Austin this morning. I rolled up here. His phone's on do not disturb because it's early in the morning. I called, immediately didn't connect. I would have just sat out there in the freezing cold if I didn't call again, where when I double dialed, now his phone settings let the call come through. I realized this hack a couple months ago that so many people keep their phone on do not disturb all day, every day, no matter what. And doesn't necessarily mean that they're not willing to take a phone call. So a lot of times you double dial, they pick up like as if you didn't just call before because they didn't know you called before. Anyways, double dial. So we go and check to see if guys are calling more than once, if they send a text outside of the automation, because a lot of people can sniff out that it's an automated text. So then send a personal one. Ask for photos, send your photos, send a video. That's like the 2.0 version. Just whip out your phone and be like, hey, this is Jacob. I just got your request for the land clearing over there in Smith County. I'd love the opportunity to talk with you about it. Let me know when it's a good time. Boom, send. That would be way setting yourself apart from the competition. But anyways, those are all things that us on the back end can go and look inside of your pipeline. And as your team grows, you as the business owner can look and see how your sales guys are working in the pipeline.
Yeah.
Your operators can come in here and see all the information about you or the sales guy's conversation with this customer. You can put in photos, job details, obviously you can do that on Jobber as well, but you can do all that here too.
Yeah. From an organization perspective, if your main constraint is either leads or sales, if you're not using something like this, it's going to improve your process. And so when we talk about a system, when you hear this term system, what does it actually mean? This is what it means. It's a way to document and do something in a repeatable format, right? Because every time so for anybody questioning, we launched this. When did we launch this Facebook ad campaign? A week and a half ago?
Yeah, almost 2 weeks.
Yeah, almost 2 weeks ago. So Jacob's running our ads here. And for those of you, any of you who are questioning whether or not you can get leads or not, the answer is you can. And if leads is your constraint, it's very simple to go get leads. You film a Facebook ad. You either run the Facebook ads yourself, like following some of the free content that Jacob and I have put out, or you do what we do and pay Jacob and the pros to run all the back end. I like doing that because Jacob's got a full team of editors. He's got a full team of campaign managers, account managers. I love having someone on the back end who I'm able to just go film, send it into a Google Drive, and then it gets put together and the campaign gets set up properly. That's the value of it for me. And then I know it gets done. So then what can I do as an operator? I can start focusing on building out this pipeline, right? So while he and his team are putting the ads together, launching the campaigns, I went to town on building this thing out. And then each different stage has text and email sequences associated with it. So then once Jacob's team starts getting ads rolling, takes usually a week or two, right? To get the pixel primed.
Yeah, 7 to 10 days.
And then once leads start rolling in, I don't have to scramble, right? I'm not going to my pen and paper and like, Neil filled out a lead on Facebook at 3:33 p.m., right? And what did he want? He wanted 5 acres of clearing. No, the system grabs all that. And so I don't ever have to think about that. I can always come back to this. And then we can also, whenever we hire a salesperson, plug and play, train them on this pipeline, and everything's ready to rock and roll. So when we talk about a system, this is what we're talking about. And this is one portion. This is the leads and the sales portion. But I don't know how salespeople did it without something like this. Like back in the day,
Google Sheets, I think was what they did for a long time. But before that, yeah, pen and paper.
Wolf
of Wall Street style.
Man.
Something just came across my desk, John.
Oh, okay. So what happens whenever you get into the, let's talk about whenever you get on the phone with a new lead. couple things happen. That person is either interested or they are unqualified. So what sort of automations would you coach people on to set up if they are, like, if they have expressed interest and they want to book a site visit? Are there any sort of text or email notifications that should go out at that point?
Yes, absolutely. I call it the 72-hour booking machine, the cadence that we have created. And literally the guys who have used this process, they're the ones getting a 30x return on their investment versus, our average last year was 10x return on investment. So if you don't follow this, you can still make good money, right? But the ones who do, they get exponentially better results. And so all the 72-hour booking machine is a perfect cadence to go from you talk to them, they're qualified, you booked them, you talked to them in person, or you did a site visit, and you're getting them a tangible estimate to follow up on. In between there, you want to keep things warm. So think about, you go on a date, you really like the person, y'all are vibing. When you leave the date, number one, do you schedule another time to have another date? More than likely, yes. Do you just not talk to that person at all until the next date? No, you're going to talk to that person. You're going to keep that relationship warm. Now, does that mean you have to be talking about their tree every second of all of that? Maybe not. But what you want them to do is learn more about you and build trust in you. So the way you can do that is through automation. Now, you can do this naturally or, by yourself. But if you have this, again, this goes back to the system. If you have this automated, it doesn't rely on you forgetting or messing up or whatever. So what I like is, and Austin does a great job at this, is sending before and after pictures of previous jobs, especially if it's something that looks like their job. So if you have a couple things loaded up, like, under 5 acres, over 5 acres, or maybe land clearing versus mulching, whatever, send that to them, and then maybe a review or two. If you just send somebody like a link to your page, it may not go over as well as if you just send them like, hey, look what Shelly said about working with us last time. Just something to keep them warm that you can actually automate. Now, I would recommend also having personalization in here, especially if it's long. Like our client Jerry had almost a 2-year follow-up process to land this $500,000 job. But what they did is they kept that relationship open over time. They were just talking about various things. But you can automate a lot of that. A little bit of a ramble, sorry.
Yeah, totally. And guys, I pulled open the back end there just to show you. And for the edited version, like we'll blur out all of the information. Guys, if any of you are watching live, just please respect the client's information and whatnot, just out of respect for them. But you could see in that conversation there that was an automation that went out. I had talked to this guy, and he was an interested party, and we had a great conversation on our initial phone call. But we moved him into a stage where it had a delay for at least a day, and he was supposed to send me something. He didn't. Then that automation went out and said, hey, totally fine if the timing's not right. Would just appreciate if you would let me know one way or the other. Should I mark this down as one to follow up with either later this season or next year? And that trigger right there just reminded him that, oh, I did tell him I would send him some photos of the current state of the property. And then that triggered a conversation where he and I had a text conversation last night. He texted me at like 8 p.m. And a lot of people are like, do I contact clients early in the morning or late? Man, if they're texting you and if you want to close deals, text them back whenever they're available, right? Because like most people are busy during the day. They've got a job and they've got a life too, just because it's your work day. And I feel like sometimes as contractors, we're the worst about this. It's like, don't contact me after hours. Don't contact me before hours. I got a life too. It's like, this is what we signed up for. Like, if you're dealing with a doctor who's busy all day long, the only time that person's going to have time to talk to you is either late at night or early in the morning. And this is where you get to make the decision. We can have a work-life balance conversation, but you get to make the decision how far you want to go, And
Dude, you just brought up something really cool. So I cannot tell you how many thousands of times I've heard somebody say, "Oh yeah, I tried to call them, couldn't get a hold of them. I don't know what's up with these leads. You can't get a hold of any of them. I don't know if I'm getting scammed. Is this fake?" Imagine if a surgeon who makes millions of dollars a year is sitting there right before the surgery. This is a great example that's like crazy, but actually very possible and likely. So great qualified person, right? But he's going to the bathroom, getting ready to go into this 12-hour surgery. He sees your ad and he's like, "Oh my gosh, dude, I need this done. Let me just fill out this form real quick so that I can get the information. I don't forget about it." Then he goes into surgery for 12 hours. Probably after that, he's got to like recover, sleep, go visit his family, eat, whatever. You may not hear from him that day, but he may be willing to pay you 6 figures to go do some work.
Yep.
But you just called him a tire kicker or a spam lead because he didn't answer you the second that you tried to contact him that day. Don't give yourself that excuse unless you hate money. That's all I got to say.
And look, like we can have the conversation too. Like I got 2 little ones at home, and my wife's always looking at me like, "Where's your head at right now?" Because she just knows my brain just spins all the time. And like that is something that I am actively getting better at, is being able to say, okay, this is family time and this is work time. But sometimes in the early days, like I remember whenever we were launching Bear Calls, like you just live, eat, and breathe that thing. If you want it to work, you live, eat, and breathe it. And gosh, thank God for my wife. Thank God for your wife. It's like they get it, right? And they understand it. And they also just know that there are certain phases of the business that are going to require a lot more time and a lot more effort. And so at 8 to 8:30 p.m. when I'm texting the client because it's a good lead, there's a reason, right? And it's because we are launching this new location and that's what it requires. And so I just wanted to cover that because while we can sit here and talk system all day long, the system's not going to do the work for you. It's just a tool to help you succeed and be a better service provider in your market. You still got to show up and put the effort and the work in. And I did want to touch on that because, I've seen people come in, implement the system, and then still get the same results. But it really just comes down to a drive and a motivation to actually work those leads.
Yep. Before I forget, I take this for granted sometimes, but another huge benefit to this, especially in the owner operator level, is the call recording. So you're driving, you're in the machine, you answer the phone like you're supposed to, you work this lead. All that information is recorded and can be transcribed on the back end. So that information can be referenced later and you don't have to be like, "Yeah, can you text me that?" It's like,
yeah,
you just got it. It's in there. And like for us, for Rise, we have so many phone calls a day. I have an automation set up where I get a summary of every single phone call that goes through Rise texted to me the second the phone call ends. So whether that's account manager to client, whether that's sales guy to prospect, whether that's anything, any call within our system, and it gets transcribed. And we've set that up for some of our clients as well.
I love that because it's a good reminder that, because like sometimes when I'm talking with a person on the phone, I'm like, all right, where do I input this information? Or like whenever I was building the system last week, I had to do the custom opportunity stages or whatever, and like make sure that it lined up with the Facebook ads. And so I'm on the phone with them and I'm like, wait, this one's not showing up. I need to go fix this. And I was like, wait, this is recorded. It's a good reminder.
Exactly.
Do I understand correctly that Jobber is more of an early days and Go High Level is more of you're up and running and now you're growing? Jacob, this would be a good topic for, I think, you and I to discuss. And I'll be as open and honest about my opinions, and I'll encourage Jacob to do to bring his own opinions, whether we agree on this or whether we don't. I think that's one reason why Jacob and I work well together, is because we both want each other to succeed. And so I'm willing to push on his thought process. Yesterday, we were on a phone, like going back and forth on Google Ads, right? But I love being around people who are going to challenge my thinking. And I, from building a relationship with Jacob up to this point, like I get that genuine feeling as well, that like he likes whenever people push him and challenge his thinking. And so I'm just a firm believer that iron sharpens iron.
Yep.
And so let's have this conversation. Do I understand correctly that Jobber is more of early days and Go High Level is more up and running and now you're growing? Do you want to take this first?
Yeah, because I know we differ on this a little bit.
Yeah.
I've used Jobber in my own business, not Rise. It's great for certain things. I like High Level. I've used it both in Rise and my local service businesses. I'm really used to it. Gives me warm, fuzzy feelings. But I do know there's certain things that, like the estimate and invoicing, is a little clunky. It's a lot clunky compared to like Jobber, Square, any of these like more polished off things. So in terms of, is it more of an early days thing? I think that's more of, where your skill set is and what you're able to build out, or if you're going to get help. So like if you were to get an account under OWNR Ops or under Rise's High Level, we have it pretty templated out for everything you need. But if you're just going to go get a blank High Level account, you're going to have to do a lot of setup to get it to do what you want to do. And if you don't have that skill set or the time for that, it may be very frustrating. Whereas Jobber is just going to basically plug and play for you and have, most of the stuff you need kind of already set up. So it's hard to give you a black and white there. It really depends on where you're going, who's going to help you, and what your skill set is.
So I do believe we will agree on this. For you as an agency running ads, living in sales and marketing, like that is your responsibility, is to help drive leads to people's businesses and then help them close those leads.
Yep.
Go High Level, hands down, is way better for that.
Yep.
And we both agree on that.
It helps me do better for them.
Exactly.
So that's why I give it to everybody.
Exactly. Now, from an operator perspective, when I started the business, I started with just Jobber, and I did the first 2 years without High Level. And the reason being is because Jobber, I came from software sales, and so I'm just a sucker for like good design and easy UI and user experience. It's very intuitive and easy to use. And so my thought process was, if I'm going to grow a business in the blue collar space, if it's not easy for me to use, then there's really no chance that it's going to be easy for someone who has no clue how to use technology.
Right.
And that is not a dig towards anybody. That is just being simple and straightforward, right? If we want people to adopt technology, we have to make it as easy as possible. Okay. And I can say from several years of using Jobber now that we use Jobber for our timesheets. Our field crew, every day that they come in, they're able to log into the job and they're able to track their time. And then it syncs up with Gusto, my payroll software. And it's so easy for everybody involved. Our salesperson schedules all the jobs in Jobber, and it's so intuitive and easy to navigate. Okay. So I'm answering this in the context of how I operated my business in the first couple of years until I had the time and people in place to run the field, to run sales, until I had the time to focus on building an actual back-end system. I didn't even think about using a sales and marketing system. Now, when I did, it was incredible how much easier it became for us on the sales and marketing side to track our advertising spend, which allows us to track customer acquisition costs. And if you know your customer acquisition costs, you can confidently spend money on ads. And so when I implemented that, it gave me this new level of confidence because I knew all of my metrics way better.
Oh, yeah.
And it also gave us the ability to do sales and marketing automations. Now, that's me just being 100% transparent with how I've used it. if I'm starting a new business today, or in the context of launching a new Bear Claw location, I'm using both right out the gate.
Yeah.
Because both paired up, it's an incredible duo, because you get the sales and marketing automation features from High Level. And then from the time that you're ready to send a quote, schedule a job, send an invoice to a customer, and then collect their payment, that's all handled in Jobber, at least on our system.
Yeah. And I will say, so I use Jobber for a trash can cleaning business. And you brought up some good points that the time tracking, timesheets thing, that is a huge feature that is very nice that does not get used. Or you cannot do that in High Level. And then routing as well. That's one thing I'm really hoping High Level adds in or has really, really good integration for in the future is some kind of mapping. We have used a couple third party to help out with guys. And we're talking mostly about the land clearing, but some of those features on Jobber outside of the land clearing world are really, really helpful.
Now, here's the big question. I think decision fatigue as an entrepreneur is something that can catch up with you if you don't make an active decision, first and foremost, to just make decisions.
Yeah.
So
speed to decision.
Exactly. What I don't want you guys to do is like go spend the next week be like, should I choose Jobber? Should I choose Go High Level? Pick one. If you want to be optimized for sales and marketing out the gate, and if you're considering working with Jacob, you're going to be using Go High Level. What I would say is just figure one out and follow the system.
Yeah.
Just run the playbook.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing. Figure one out that works for you and then operate off of that week in, week out. I think where people run into issues is they're like, oh, I'm trying to tweak this one thing. And Hormoz even talks about this.
Yep. Yeah.
Every time you make a change,
20%.
you lose 20%.
So is it worth it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to get a 20% dip. You're going to have a lull. We're actually going through this right now in our business. We're actually on the upside of it, but we made a bunch of changes to the sales process and the offer and the funnels just because it needed to be updated. And we had a dip. Like normally we get 8 to 10 new clients a month. We went down to 4. Now this month we've already gotten, I think, six, possibly 7 new clients this month. So one, you have to be able to weather that when you make big changes, but also, is that worth it? Is the result on the other end going to be worth it? But if you don't have any kind of sales system or way to track your sales, it is going to be worth it. 100%. Your 20% is going to be, it's going to suck your time away to get it all set up, or it's going to suck money away to pay somebody to set it up. But if you're not doing it, it will guaranteed be worth it. And I can do the math if you want the math.
So the pipeline is one of the tools within Go High Level or Jobber. It's both right now because Jobber just released a new beta feature. It does not include all the sales and marketing automations that Go High Level does. Text, email sequences. So here's what I will say to keep it simple for you guys. If you are one of Jacob's clients, or if you're planning to work with Jacob, if I'm in your shoes, I'm likely, like if I know I'm signing up with them to run ads, I'm just gonna go use the system that they provide out the box, because you'll get an account manager. They will coach you on how to do everything. They will set everything up for you, and then all the automations will be customized for you and your business, correct?
Right. And we're not going to nickel and dime, right? So like if you have your own High Level account, you're going to pay monthly.
Yep.
You're going to pay for every text. You're going to pay for every email, every minute of phone call, every automation. Now they're charging you like 0.000169 per whatever thing, but it adds up, right? And you can kind of be unsure of what you're going to get charged. Under our system, we just cover that. So it's kind of just a benefit, but just so y'all know that's how High Level makes their money, is all these little charges all over the place.
Yeah. And dude, they do. Holy crap. I look at the bank statement. I'm like, good night.
Yeah.
Like I'll be like replying to support. I'm like, what was this? And they have to,
break it down
for me. I'm like, well, I guess you did include that in the agency fee.
When
I
charge
signed
us
up.
like, They charge us a couple $100 a day for sure, just kind of randomly as usage happens. But
Yeah. Okay. So, and then if you're just starting out like I was, and you want to just pick a system and you're not ready to pay for an agency or have someone run your ads, look, Jobber's going to be great out the box.
Yeah.
All right. If you don't have someone to set up high level for you, I would likely go the Jobber route right out the gate, because then here's what you can do. You can start your business with Jobber. You can use their request feature. It's going to track all your customers and all of that. And then you're going to be able to send professional quotes, schedule jobs, send professional invoices. And then whenever you transition into, if you do decide to hire Jacob as growth services, it's an easy bolt on to add your sales and marketing system with Go High Level, with what they include on all of that.
Yep.
Would you say anything different on that?
No, that's pretty common. Like when guys get to like y'all's size where you're scheduling multiple jobs a day over weeks, that's typically what happens.
Yeah.
Most of our guys at that level, most of our guys at multiple seven figures are actually using Java and high level.
Yeah.
It's just kind of where things go once you have all this stuff to manage every day. But I do agree that it's a lot easier to just jump into versus high level if you're doing it on your own.
Yeah. So there's, like I said, I have YouTube videos on Jobber. Just go search Jobber. I've done every single like feature that they have, like quotes, schedule, invoices. I've done like one big, here's how to use Jobber for beginners. Out of the box, like if you want to plug and play, if you are literally starting your business right now, I mean, I think they charge you 30. Don't quote me on this. It's something where it's like not even something you should question with what it can help you do right out the gate. 30, 40, or $50 a month. So it's a no-brainer in my mind. It was literally the first thing I did whenever I started this business. Like, you have to have a back-end system to track everything. Because if you're not, you're just running and gunning and you're competing with guys who do.
Yeah.
And you're never going to outcompete. Well, I shouldn't say that. Some of you out there, some of the baby boomers, man.
Yeah, I mean, we had a client printing off screenshots of the lead text. So he'd screenshot when I texted him the lead, and he'd print it, and he kept that stack in his truck. But
I'll tell you what, man, I wouldn't want to compete with that guy. My dad's the same way. He never had anything. He just runs off cell phone, and he had this he always had this yellow notepad in his truck.
Oh yeah.
But that guy can sling some deals.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want to compete with him. So some of you, if you're listening out there and that's you're like, man, I can do it on pen and paper. If that's how you've done it, that's how you've done it, right? If you're just getting into it and you're millennial or Gen Z, you probably don't have the skills that the baby boomers had. So just implement the software.
Yeah.
All right, what do we got? Jacob, is moving the status from new lead to engaged lead automated or clicked by an employee? Yes, it can be.
Yeah.
How does it know the customer has actually been engaged and what actually counts as engaged?
Great question. This is
Great, Bobby.
Great question. This is kind of the beauty of the high level and the automations is, thank you.
Take it. I'm going to get you some more coffee.
You can have it recognized. So there's a trigger. All the automations have triggers. So triggers are things that it senses and then takes the next action. So in the workflow, you can create a customer reply. So it can be as simple as they just replied. And then that causes next action, which can be another text message, or it can be move them in the pipeline stage, or both. But you can also have customer replied and then filter. Customer replied with yes or no. Customer replied with positive or negative reaction. It can get very detailed, but at the baseline, you can just have it recognize when someone's taking that action. So that's what I do. So that way I know how many people have responded to the auto text or have engaged at all. I automatically, for all of our clients, have that set up that way. Hopefully that answers your question. Mr. William Morgan, how do you get a hold of me? You can email me, jacob@riseonlineads.com. You can go to riseonlineads.com or landclearinggrowth.com, either one. I'm also on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, all the above. So If you type in Rise or Land Clearing Growth on any of those platforms, you'll find me. And then Andy, they're not a payment processor though, right? That's separate, like through Square or something. High Level allows you to connect any payment processor, really. You can do Square, Stripe. Jobber uses Stripe. So it's kind of like white labeled Stripe. So for those that want to know. So you can integrate Stripe into High Level. Jobber automatically integrates Stripe already, either which way. Hopefully that answers your question there. Yeah, I think that, let me make sure. Yep. Great questions, guys. If you have any more, please let us know. This is the stuff I love to talk about. It's kind of the nerdy back end stuff, but literally makes you a lot more money just if you pick up one more job. I did the math on this the other day on one of my videos. Basically, if you've already figured out your leads, so this is assuming you already get leads, and your average job is like $5,000 to $7,000, kind of on the lower side. Then you're getting all these leads. You have these average jobs. If you have 30 to 40% gross margins, right? That's about $3,000. So if you can just pick up one more job per month over the course of a year because you have this system in place and you didn't miss something or you didn't miss someone, then that's $36,000 in profit per year. Not revenue, but profit. Andy said, to keep it easy for me at this early stage, I should use Stripe and Jobber. Jobber already uses Stripe. You don't even have to worry about that. But
Yep.
Yes.
Yep, Jobber's built on top of Stripe, so it's like already integrated into it. So whenever you're going through the setup, you'll just connect, you'll put in your company information and all that stuff, and then you connect a bank account, and then it's going to auto bill for you with Stripe. And then the customer doesn't even see it. They don't see a Stripe link. It's all built natively in Jobber. It looks professional with an invoice. And then they have an option to just click and pay. And it's really pretty freaking sweet. Like whenever you're sending quotes and you want to collect a deposit. So we collect 50% up front. Some of you out there do like 10 or 25%. On the quote, you can just toggle off on or off deposit. And then you can send the quote, and then the customer gets a text to their phone. And in order for them to accept the quote, they have to sign and pay the deposit if you have that feature turned on. Super seamless. Then you get the notification on the back end. And then from there, you can just click convert to job. And that customer who was sent the quote, when you click convert to job, just gets moved over into a job. And then whenever you do the job, you click complete job, and then it prompts you to send an invoice. So everything is managed, streamlined together. So if I'm doing clearing for Jacob, and Jacob comes into Jobber on my end, Jacob's going to have a client profile. He's going to get a quote. He's going to have a job, and then he's going to have an invoice. And any payments he makes is going to all be tied to that account.
That's something to really be said. Sorry. So you're bringing up a super good point of making it easy to pay. That will make you so much more money. Too many people add friction, and this is one thing I will say kind of negative about. You can get to where you have a streamlined process with payments on High Level, but it's not as easy and as pretty as like Jobber. And if you make it easy to pay, and for y'all, most of you have to have contracts, service agreements, and then maybe this deposit feature. If you have to send somebody through 4 or 5 hoops and like a DocuSign or a manual document, or review this and then accept it, and then I'll send you this and you pay me, it's like, people who are like Johnny on the spot and have money, they value time, And in today's world, they want to be able to just go, boop. Oh yeah, Apple Pay, sweet, boom, paid. I'm telling you, if you have it set up where they can pay that easily, accept your agreement, and pay whatever they need to pay from their phone, you will make so much more money and faster.
And then, I don't know if we've gotten into financing before,
No, I don't think we have talked about it on here.
but that's where I think there's going to be a scenario where our close rate increases whenever we really hammer down on financing options. Because Jobber even partners with a financing company that you can embed financing options right into the quote. So whenever a customer goes to accept the quote, they can apply for the financing, and it's all done through a third party that's integrated there. And then you as the contractor are out of it. Like they apply just like they would apply for a car loan or anything like that. And then they get accepted or whatever terms that they get. Don't quote me on this. I believe it's within like 24 to 48 hours or something like that if the customer applies for financing.
Yeah, one of our Titans yesterday just let us know he used WiseTech and Enhancify because Enhancify allowed him to go over 25K, I think.
Okay.
WiseTech, he sent the quote, they got approved. He got the money in his bank the next day. And then Enhancify, it was 30,000. They fund the client directly, but he got an email saying the client was funded with the 30,000. So 2 jobs that were pending, he converted them just by having those options.
Crazy. So like you can literally get paid as a contractor. And WiseTech, you brought it up. Good point. They finance up to 25,000, and then they'll give the customer options. Hey, you can pay over whatever 36, 48. I don't know how many. I think the terms are dependent upon the customer and their credit score. But you as a contractor get paid up front, which is awesome, or on completion of the job.
Yeah, which is just money. And I, not having as much experience as y'all in the field, I asked this question to the guy. I was like, what? Because he was wanting to help with vetting these finance companies. And I was like, well, I would just check the clawback clause, which is basically if the customer doesn't pay, do they rip the money out of your account? How does that work? And he was like, well, that's not really a worry because we set up a pre-lien on every job. So he pays this company who's a bunch of lawyers like a couple $100 a month and like a couple dollars per pre-lien every time he does a job. And has a lot of experience with it. And he told me he's had to use it 3 or 4 times, and it works every time. As soon as they get that lien on their property letter, they pay the invoice.
Jeez.
So, I mean, for me, financing in that world is even safer. It's like if I were to offer financing to my clients, I don't necessarily have any of that kind of weight, right? So if I finance you and you don't pay it, the finance company is going to end up pulling the money back.
Keeping this stuff simple and clean is important for me. So many decisions. There's a million decisions to make. And decision fatigue is a real thing. I do believe that is like the more and more I'm in this game, that's the muscle that needs to be built. Make decisions, stand behind them, give them time to play out.
Yeah. And yeah, speed. It's, some people, they're just like, whatever, just do this. Like, no, not like that. But like, okay, you get really quick at looking at the data of like, okay, here's how I'm going to make this decision. And when you have systems like we're talking about today, it gives you a better picture of more accurate data over and over to be able to make decisions. If you don't, you're probably just guessing.
Yeah. So systems, anybody else have any questions on Jobber or Go High Level, and then how they're used within the process? So a quick recap. If you do have questions, post them in the chat on them, and then we're going to transition to AI conversation. Systems. Okay, Go High Level right now handles our sales and marketing automation. So everything from the time that a lead fills out a form on Facebook, Google, or your website, every time that lead fills out the form, from that time to the time that you're ready to send a quote, at least in our process, that's all handled in Go High Level. Once you're ready to send the quote, schedule the job, send the invoice, collect the payment. For us at Bear Claw, that's all handled in Jobber. Both Jacob and I use the same sales and marketing automation system for handling leads, sales pipeline, moving them through their different stages. Okay. If you're just starting out, I believe the simplest thing that you can do and the least expensive, and it's going to require the least amount of learning curve, is to jump on Jobber if you're just starting your business, because you'll have professional quotes, you'll have a schedule, you'll have professional invoices right out the gate. And you will also have a way to capture customer information. And then once you get to the point to where it makes sense to hire an agency like Jacob, you can bolt that on. If you are at the part right now in your business, and this is just my opinion and my recommendations for you guys, so take it for whatever it's worth. If you're at the point where you already have a business and you're just considering implementing a system and you're already generating revenue, you're already doing jobs, and you know you're going to hire Jacob, if it were me, I would likely just go to them and know that I'm going to get the system embedded into my business whenever I hire them to run ads.
100%. I would agree.
Change anything?
I don't think so.
No? Why not use QuickBooks for your estimating and billing?
I did that a couple of years ago. I don't like their interface.
Yeah, same. It just feels super clunky to me. And you don't have a job, like with Jobber, everything's tied together. It flows seamless in my mind, right? Customer comes in, they get a quote, they schedule a job, they get an invoice, they collect a payment, and it flows all together. And within the interface, you can click through. No matter what stage they're at in the process, everything is connected. Whereas in QuickBooks, whenever I jumped on there, it just seemed like they're ready to pay, you send them the invoice sort of thing.
Yeah. No, the only time I QuickBooks where I liked it, in my pressure washing business, we were contracted with a roofing company. And if we did a job for them, they created like a work order, and then they would direct deposit the money every Thursday into us through QuickBooks. Very like weird specific use case. And I'm sure you could do that on other softwares, but yeah, other than that, I've just never really liked their billing system.
Okay, any other questions on system? Post them in the chat. Artificial intelligence. Where the heck is this thing going? It's getting wild out there.
I know a lot of you are going to make a lot of money by clearing for some of these data centers, for sure. I mean, I know of one of our clients down there in the Gulf Coast is doing a really big one. One of our Central Texas clients, they're building, Microsoft's building out there by him. It's definitely going to be a little bit of a gold rush here on that, but on our end, yeah, definitely, it's going to make us just more efficient, which makes it better for our customers, for sure. Also helps us make better decisions faster, sift through data quicker so that you can make decisions. That's one thing it helps us with in our business, for sure, is sift through data and make decisions quicker.
What AI tools are you using on a day-to-day basis?
I used ChatGPT for a long time, but these other ones are coming up. Gemini, if you have like the ultra version, you can do video and images. They're definitely the fastest for video and images. For face, like my face, Sora, I do use it daily, more of like on a fun, engaging kind of side. But like if you're a client and you just do not like being on camera, on Gemini, I can take a picture of you and make you say what I want you to say, which is a little helpful if you're trying to get like a good hook in or something. And then on the I still use ChatGPT for internal because it's good at creating custom GPTs where it's like, hey, this is your box, this is what you fit in, this is your job.
Mm-hmm.
So for like my team, if it's something specific, like I want them to build scripts for our guys or build an offer for our guys, I give it this huge mega prompt and framework, and then they can just input specific company information and get a very specific output.
Yep.
I like ChatGPT for that. And then personally, I use ACQ or acquisition.com's AI for a lot of like data framework decision making type things.
Yeah.
I haven't jumped into Claude yet, but I know it's definitely the winner for content. And then now coming up quick, code side of things.
I'm hesitant to whether or not I'm even going to bring this up or not, but I literally have been building the Jobber and Go High Level integration system. And it's all been with Claude. It's absolutely insane what is possible today. I think I'm going to save this for a later date.
Yeah, that's definitely a full suite of a day.
Yeah, it definitely is. But yeah, the what you can do with AI agents from a coding perspective, from a back end operational perspective, like I fully see the opportunity where all of the things that can be done at a computer on the back end at some point, if you have the right systems and tools, if they're set up and built properly, could be done by an AI agent at some point. I don't know when that's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to be in the next year. I don't know if it's 3 years. I don't know if it's 5 years. But all I know is it is happening fast. Did you see the Claudebot stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
Well, you know, one thing we could dip into today, if no more questions come up, and you may, since the last time we talked about this, you may have learned a lot more, but the quickest application of an AI agent for a land clearing business that I see is getting them the estimate from the recording. That and I don't know if y'all have moved to this yet or if you have a version of this, but I know Alex has a pretty sweet video on this from Brushworks where he is recording while he's walking the property with the customer, and the agent on the back end is turning that recording into an actual estimate. I think, I mean, like we have clients getting 150 leads a month. If you had something like that set up, as well as AI bots to talk to these people, qualify leads for you, like if you're in that in between of hiring a salesperson or not, that can kind of be like a first step. And a lot of people are like, I don't want the AI talking to people, but I bring up two things there. It's better than them talking to your competitor.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, humans always going to win, but it's better than them talking to your competitor. And think about how many places you call and you get like a recording receptionist type thing.
Yep.
And it's like, hey, here's our hours. Press 1. You got to wait for them to read off this whole prompt.
Yeah.
And that's just normal. Like nobody's like, oh, the computer. It's like you sit there and wait. Well, an AI version of that is just 100x better version. Instead of you having to wait for it to read off everything, the AI is like, how can I help you? And it has all of the same information that recording would read off, but instead you get to actually talk to it. So instead of you hearing all this information you don't want, you just ask it for the exact information you want or the next move, and then the AI will do it. And high levels native AI actually does this. And if you say like, hey, I want to talk to a person, it will just transfer you to the person.
Yeah.
If you say like, hey, I don't want to talk to you, like how much does land clearing cost? Hey, depending on all of these variables, it could range from this to this. It can literally tell the person that. Or instead of telling it right away, it'll ask questions like, hey, I can't actually give you an estimate range, but before I do that, I need to get you to answer these 5 questions. And then it'll give them some kind of range. It can also book an appointment, which is just crazy, right? So if you have something set up where it qualifies that lead for you, lead becomes qualified, and then it can then set an appointment for you to either come in person or talk or just transfer the call. So I went kind of far with that, but on the front end, it can just be a way more intelligent better experience for the customer to just get information when you don't answer the phone. So between that and the streamlining your estimate process, I think those are the two most applicable things for AI agents in land clearing guys business.
Yeah, definitely. So you brought up something that is very important. Well, as I've jumped back into sales for this other location, my perspective on it now with the tools that we have available to us is so different than whenever I started the Colorado location 3 years ago. Because now the tools we have available to us are, and I will go ahead and show this here. So I love the estimating tool. So like what I've been pushing really hard on is over the last 3 years, we've come up with this system. We have this playbook, right? But how do you teach this playbook to other people to be able to operate within the frameworks of the playbook, right? And so everything to me came back to price, pipeline, and playbook. Price, pipeline, playbook. Because first and foremost, we have to get price correct. If we cannot get price correct, we don't have a business. Right? We're just running around doing busy things and not actually pricing accordingly.
Yeah.
So as I've been thinking about, as I was thinking about like refining Ops Accelerator, the program, I'm like, all right, what can I teach that will move the needle the most? And so price first, I believe we have to all understand what our equipment costs, what our labor costs, what are our consumables, what is our crew day rate. And if you've been a part of these live streams, you've seen it kind of develop. But in its simplest form, like I wanted to build a tool where I can come in and create a day rate tool internally so that I know my internal operating costs. And this is just an example, right? But so you can say, okay, are we working 4 days a month? Are we working 5, right? So you input your total, 4 days a week or 5 days a week. You input your total days per month. Then you configure your crew. All right. How much are you paying your operator? How many hours per day are you working? Operator burden, 25 to 30% for things like workers' comp, payroll. Does this crew have a helper? Yes, no. Okay. If we're building just a single mulching crew with a mulcher and an operator, it's going to be this, give or take 30 to 35 bucks an hour, right? The main machine costs, right? So let's say you finance that machine, you buy it, it costs you $3,000 a month. The attachment, roughly $1,000. Trailer, $355 per month. Truck, $750 a month. Right? So let's calculate that first. Then let's calculate how much fuel does the machine burn? How much do you want to allocate to your truck fuel per day, right? Just say this is 4. Then you calculate your wear and consumables. You and I were talking about this the other day. So this is basically the spreadsheet that we talked about in our team meeting, and then built into a software tool.
Yeah, nice and visual.
Yeah. So then you can put in your monthly overhead, and then you put in whatever profit margin you want to put in. Okay, so you can see here that these are the rates that you would need to be at to hit that margin based off of your costs and your overhead. And so everybody always talks about price, like, what's the going rate? Well, it really depends. You saw behind the scenes of our overhead that we're carrying right now, because we have full-time project manager, it's a 6-figure role, right? We have a full-time field operations manager. The guy is going to make, made over 6 figures, right? So like those weigh into overhead. But as a growing business, you're going to have to put that stuff into your overhead. If you're just a solo owner operator, yes, you need to be accounting for your wage that you should be paying somebody else to operate the machine. But if you're handling sales, like you can afford to price at a lesser price than someone who has a lot of overhead, right? Anything you would add on that? I'm going to get some coffee here.
Yeah, basically the big thing there is, yes, you can get away with charging less, but you need to actually know your numbers, because if you also finance a more expensive machine because you're just into cool stuff, and you buy more tools, or you bought a bigger truck. Like if you bought a 550 and so your insurance is higher, like there's just so many variables that are going to be different from your business to the next. But I'm a firm believer that you need to charge what you would charge if you had these roles in your business ahead of time, as early as you possibly can. Because the longer you go, the harder it's going to be. You're going to have trained your customer in your market at this cheaper price. And I say this because I did it.
Yep.
When I moved to having employees, I made no money initially because I had built everything on me doing everything.
Yeah.
You can make money that way, but you have a job, you don't have a business. And so if you want to have a business, you have to price it like a business as soon as you possibly can.
Yeah.
And I would rather work for free to build reputation and get reviews than work for as cheap as possible, because it's just bad customers and you're setting yourself up for bad things in the future.
Yeah. Now, the reason I brought that up is because there is a scenario where if you said, hey, my business model is I want to be a subcontractor for another business who's running a marketing budget and project managers, back office salaries, right? There is a scenario, and I think guys could make a good amount of money doing this. If you just knew that you wanted to be an operator and own your machine, right? And you be the one showing up, you could position yourself as a subcontractor to work for a business who has the marketing budget, has the back office salaries. And so that's why I bring up, there is a difference, right? You guys hear me talk about crew day rate. If you want to go build the business, you're going to have to account for marketing budget in your overhead, right? Which is minimum $3,500. You're spending anything on Facebook, right? You need to be spending $50 a day, pay a couple grand to an agency to manage it, right? And then if you want to run Google ads, you're looking at another 15, right? So you're quickly between like 3,500 and $5,000 a month on a marketing budget. If you're the one going and driving the business and building a business, you need to account for that in your pricing. Now, if you're a solo owner operator and you know that you want to operate the machine and you don't want to do any of the marketing, you don't want to hire the people, position yourself as a subcontractor, go work with the company who's doing the big marketing budget, right? So that they're getting the jobs, and then say, hey, I'm willing to go work for you as a sub, right? Figure out your rate based off your daily operating costs, and this rate is going to be different than this. So I cover that because as long as you understand your numbers and how it relates to you and your business, you're going to come up with your internal, what we call crew day rate. And when you come up with your crew day rate, you know what it costs you to show up to that job that day. So if you know that you want to hit 30% margin, right? I know that if we mobilize somebody for less than $2,700, this profit margin is just going to go down, right? And so, yeah, from an internal perspective, when I see AI, my head is like, man, I'm building as many tools as I possibly can to build the best back-end operation here. And so when we talk about Jobber and Go High Level, I didn't even preface you that I'm going to be going into this, but when I think about those two, it's clunky for me to log into two different apps. So on the back end here, I've been building this internally for Bear Claw based off of the exact playbook that we want to operate, the exact pricing that we want to operate off of, the exact pipeline, right? So if we could consolidate Go High Level and Jobber into one app, that's ideal for me, right? And so with AI now, with all the tools that we have available, that's where I see this thing going. So yeah, this is what we've been working on the back end, like building out our own internal pipeline. I think that the heavier lift is going to be integrating text and email campaign sequences.
Zapier API
Yep.
help with that.
Yep.
I like you have a dashboard view above your pipeline. That's the kind of stuff you can do when you start coding.
Yeah.
Is you got full autonomy.
So the coolest thing that I wanted to show here is the estimating tool. And this is how I've been handling things over the phone. So as I've been jumping back into sales, I built this estimating tool. And yeah, you mentioned that, Alex has a couple of YouTube videos on it. Basically, I've talked to him offline a couple of times where it's like, hey, here's how we're thinking about it, right? We need to break down brush density, terrain slope, and all of that. So I built this team internally to test out in our new market based off of some constraints that we operate with, the vegetation type, I had a big meeting with our team internally. Hey, how quickly can we move through certain types of terrain? Let's go back to log the hours, review all that stuff. So we built this tool, which will kick out basically an estimate based off of acreage. So we could say, for example, somebody came to me, a lead said 15 acres, right? What type of service? Okay, brush, understory. Let's say it's forestry mulching. We want medium brush density, terrain and slope, rolling. We want dry, firm ground conditions, no add-ons, adequate staging area, unknown permitting required. You could input your notes here. Mobilization 200, right? It gives you this retail price estimate. And this is what I've been using on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been pulling this up when I get a lead and I ask them all these questions. I input these on the system and then it kicks out this estimate range. And I say, okay, based on what we just talked about, it's looking like we would be somewhere between 32 and 39,000 or 32 and 40 grand. And then I just shut up. You probably.
First one to talk loses.
Yes. And that's something Hormozy talks about a lot. It's like whenever you drop price, shut up. And then you just gauge their response. But like yesterday, we did this on the phone. I dropped a range and the guy was like, oh, when can you show up?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the power of digital marketing.
Yeah.
You're going to have the leads who are tire kicker leads. You're going to get those. But if you stick with it throughout the long term, there are going to be leads who come through your funnel who are just slam dunks, right?
Lay downs.
How often do you see that?
In this this business with Facebook, it's usually like 2 out of 10.
So 20%.
Yeah.
20% out of Facebook. Right. So internally, I'm thinking about, all right, what is one system I can log into and work my whole sales process and then move them through the quoting, scheduling, invoicing stage. So that's where I see the power of AI coming in, because now we have tools that are available to us that as an idea guy or a creative entrepreneur, this is like the coolest time to be alive.
Well, this is what customers want.
Yeah.
Like we're so used to getting information so quick at our fingertips. And so if you have this, which is all data that, but you can't necessarily that's where AI is not necessarily smarter than us. It's insanely faster than us. So you can pop in a few quick clicks and put out this detailed thing versus the other guy is going to be on the phone like, well, yeah, you see, there's going to be lots of variables like terrain and tree size. And, generally we're $2,000 to $3,000 an acre, but, we can come look at it versus you're like, how many acres? What are the tree sizes? What's the density? What's the slope? How far is it? Yeah, we'd be between $32,000 and $39,000. I would love to come do this in person so that we can walk, make a plan, and make sure that you don't actually overpay for this. I have Thursday at 1 available.
Boom. That's the script right there.
And you did what most guys take a couple days to do in seconds. That's why this type of tool is so valuable.
And it works. Like it's working right now too. And I think for those of you who've listened to the podcast before, I always like to test things within my own business before we talk about it here. But like this is actively what I'm using inside of our sales process. And getting to the estimate as fast as possible, because that's what people want to know. Every single person. Which leads me to another point that we should talk about. What do you think the highest performing video is right now for both owner ops ads and Bear Claw?
What does it cost? How much does it cost?
What does it cost? That's what people want to know.
Yeah.
What does it cost? So if you can tell them, then you're like moving them down the process of building more trust faster with them. And if it's completely out of their budget, like you don't need to waste time driving to that person's property anyway. So that's why an estimate range, and you have mentioned this before.
Yeah, range is huge. because it qualifies them quickly, gives them realistic expectations, but it also still sells you coming in person. So on the phone, your job is not to sell your service. Your job is to sell coming in person.
Yep.
Unless it's some kind of like cookie cutter, world's smallest job, whatever. You want to get there in person so that you can see what you're working with before you agree to do this job.
Yeah.
Because every 2 acres is different, right? So you give that range, that quickly qualifies them, but they still need a hard number, which you need to come see in person most of the time. The smaller jobs you can get away with having some more menu style pricing, but
Definitely.
where my brain's going at live here is another use for the AI agent is giving it this tool so that when you're on the move, like you're taking calls here, cool.
Yep.
You're on the move, something comes in, you just voice chat your AI agent and you say, hey, use my pricing tool.
Totally.
Ask me questions. I'm going to give you the answers. Use the input into the pricing tool and tell me what it puts out at the end.
Right.
And then you could also have the AI trained on that for when you miss the phone, that the person can call and get that information themselves. And the AI agent's using what they answer questions with to build out that.
For sure. It's getting crazy too with Claudebot too, because you're now to the point to where you can basically train it on a system where it gets so smart on a set of constraints of data that you get it. And then we're not far off from being able to be like, hey, I name my AI agent Gideon. It's like, hey, Gideon, we need an estimate for 5 acres, flat terrain, medium density, and then I need you to prepare that estimate for me for John Smith at this address. And then it's like, boom, 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 sweet, estimate's ready. It's sitting in the dashboard in the account. All somebody has to do is just approve, click, send, and then we're ready to rock at that point. And so speed, just like in football, it's like speed wins.
Yep.
Always has and it always will. And so I'm a firm believer that figuring out ways to implement AI to cut down on some of the manual tasks, right? I'm hesitant to go to, what do you think about the AI agents on the phone?
It is not the best.
Yeah.
But it's better than them calling your competitor.
Yeah.
That's what I'll always say. The guys who do the absolute best in our ecosystem, like multiple 7 figures and growing, they have dedicated sales guys.
Yep.
If you're not willing or not able to make that jump, an AI agent is a great interim.
Mm-hmm. I like them for example, like if you know that you're going to be at a family dinner event on a Friday evening, I love the use case of an AI agent answering when you know that you're not going to be available. Now, I'm nowhere close to having an AI agent answer during business hours instead of a human being. I still believe that, especially in this industry, when you're dealing with a ranch owner, right?
Yeah.
The last thing they want to hear is an automated voice. And people have asked me this, like, what do you think about AI voice agents? It's like, I'm not replacing a human anytime soon. Why? Because that is a big reason we sell jobs, is because we treat the people with respect whenever we talk to them, right?
Yeah, and I wouldn't try to hide it. I wouldn't try to make the AI agent trick people into thinking. I would be like, hi, I'm an AI receptionist
for sure
for Bear Claw, because our representative is not, that sounds kind of funny, but our guy's not available right now.
That's right.
I can answer pretty much any question you have and get that information to him and transfer you to him as soon as he's available.
Exactly.
I would just be super upfront with that. But one of the best HVAC ads I've ever seen in my local area, dude's sitting there, no edits. He's filming on his phone, or somebody's filming him, and he's sitting there calling all of his competitors. And they either don't answer or the AI answers, middle of the day, like 11 a.m. And he's like, you call us, we're going to answer. That's the ad. That's all of it. They are crushing it.
Wow.
And I'm like, dude, that's the way to go.
Yeah, to answer your question, Andy, I use Claude Code a lot. Claude's my preferred AI agent or AI tool. Yeah, once you get down like the nerdy rabbit hole of different AIs and what they're best at, you just kind of pick the one that is best suited for what you want the outcome. And from my research, Claude is the one that is best at coding. We haven't talked about prompting, but I think where people get frustrated with AI is they're not prompting correctly. And so let's just talk quickly about, like, we can cover how to prompt. If you were to hire an employee, you would not hire them and then immediately think that they're just going to be great and know exactly what your expectations are. You would spend time with them and train it, right? And so something I believe is important if you're using an AI tool, and you mentioned different chat, custom GPTs and whatnot, the more you use it, the more you train it on your use cases and on your style and on your voice and how you like things done, it's going to just continually get smarter if you ask it to. But prompting is something that is very important if you want to do bigger complex projects with AI. So giving it all of the inputs it needs on the front end and being crystal clear with it before you try to start building something is important. So one example of this is, like, if you're using GPT or if you're using Claude, come to it and say, like, hey, you are an expert at doing XYZ. I want you to build XYZ, and I want you to create a mega prompt for this, and I want you to ask me 10 questions to help get clear on my vision for this. And then just sit there and have a conversation with it. Sometimes I'll just talk with it for like an hour, right? And then refine the inputs before I go start building something. So that is something that has helped on my own. Would you add anything there?
Yeah, no, just icing on top of that, it's huge to basically give it walls, because it can scan the whole internet. Well, to keep it from going off the rails or going out of scope, or if you give it some walls to stay in, it's going to feel smarter because it's going to just find information and data on that. And then the asking questions thing is huge.
Mm-hmm.
That is like probably one of the biggest things. Like, hey, and for me, I'm a good typer. I'm not like a finger poke typer.
Yeah.
But sometimes I don't want to just type out a 3-page essay. So I like to use the voice mode, and I will just sit there and ramble off for like 12 minutes on what I'm about to sit down and do, the project I'm about to do, what I want it to ask me, what I want it to get more information on, what the guardrails I want it to stay within. And I think you need to make it easy to use.
Yep.
So, like, for me on the phone, I have my double tap set up where I double tap on the back, and it automatically opens voice chat with a custom GPT.
Okay.
And I can see, like, on your computer, you've got your tools very quick. You can just boom and then jump into a tool. You need to make it easy and quick to use, but the questions and the setting up the conversation is big, because you just go off and you ask it like a one-line question. It wants to give you information, so it's going to spit out a page of maybe not so useful information.
For sure. For sure. Have you used Whisper Flow?
Mm-mm.
If you like voice, this is money. Andy from Stryker told me about this, and that guy is a systems wizard. Anyways, Whisper Flow, WISPR. I remember after we got off the conversation, I was searching for it, and I was like, where is this? But it's spelled WISPR, FLOW. And it's an AI tool. But it's basically, so like right here, you can just be like, I don't know, let's open Claude, right? And you click in it, you hold FN, you be like, hey, I want you to help me build a mega prompt for combining a go high level with Jobber tool with the goal of creating the best land clearing and forestry mulching software in the world. Ask me 10 questions about this project let's get clear on this before you ever start doing anything, and let's rock and roll. And then what it does is it runs it through its own AI.
Clean it up.
It cleans it. So if you're like, or no, act like, so oftentimes like I'll process thoughts whenever I speak. So I'll just be like, wait, no, actually do this instead. It will take that audio, delete everything in the beginning, and then go put in like what I corrected it with.
Nice.
So whenever
you can drop text like that anywhere.
Yeah. And yeah,
that's a productivity hack right there.
It takes like whenever you're on iPhone, because you probably use like ChatGPT voice, right?
Yeah.
But whenever you're texting with voice on iPhone and you're like, hey, tell Bailey, and then it misspells Bailey.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh gosh, okay, now it's taking me more time to just delete everything.
Mm-hmm.
You can train Whisper Flow on your language, on the spelling, and then it just like knows after it runs it through AI.
Nice.
Sweet.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. All right, we're going in a million different directions here on AI because the sky is the limit. How soon until we have an automated forestry mulching machine?
We were talking about this the other day. I think that that new remote control one, if FAA is recording data like crazy from those machines, which they should be because of the way that it's operated. And I mean, all the other new ones have computers in them too. I think it's a lot more possible sooner than a lot of us realize. They could probably do it already, but it would just have to be, somebody willing to invest the money in it, and will people buy it? Who knows? But
who knows? Who knows? Okay, who else has some questions in the chat? Anybody else? This has been fun. Systems, AI. Real quick recap. We talked about go high level for sales and automation, pipeline, Jobber for quoting, scheduling, invoicing. Some AI tools that you can use, whether ChatGPT, Claude. If you're not using them yet, download one and just start having conversation with it. Tell it, hey, I am a business owner. I own XYZ business in XYZ area, and my goal is for you to help me be as productive as possible. Ask me 10 questions about getting clear on my process, or just ask it, how can you help me? And it's crazy what it'll come back with. But if you start putting the inputs in right now, you're going to have better outputs with time. What do you think using AI to build your website in the beginning? I'll stay out of this one. Jacob, I'll let you answer this as the marketer.
I guess it kind of depends on your it kind of depends on your goal and what you're going to do in the future and your skill level. Getting an AI to code a website page is very easy. Having that then hosted somewhere on a domain, and where you can edit it pretty simply to add in, updates or things that you need, depending on your skill level and how many softwares you have, that can be hard. And with tools like, you can build websites at high level, WordPress, Wix, Duda, like all these sites, they have these templates where you can just kind of drop stuff in and edit it. I think if you don't have the skill level and all of the tools to, make all of these code things happen on the back end, you'd be better off using one of these builders. And every one of these builders has AI in them. So they will help you with content, with images, with your SEO stuff on the back end, all your little technical stuff. If you don't have all of these cool AI tools and coding abilities and hostings and servers and stuff, I would not recommend just straight up asking AI to code your website. You're going to cause yourself more frustration. If you do have that, then it's freaking awesome, because you can put out a ton of beautiful stuff and make it do exactly what you want it to do. So yeah, I guess that just depends on your abilities and softwares.
Yeah, skill level, softwares you have available, and then also the time that you have available. And the reality is, like, I think everybody's first hurdle is, how do I build my website? And I do have thoughts and opinions on this. Kind of going back to the decision fatigue that we talked about earlier, it's like, whatever you do, I would just do it in the way that is proven and repeatable to get results. So this is not me endorsing Jacob right now just because he's here, but like, he does have a professional way to get websites built. And this is exactly what I did whenever I started Bear Claw. In past businesses, I used to be the website guy. I would like sit there and, oh, this is sweet. But then I'd realize that, like, I wasted 6 or 8 hours a day on tweaking my website, when in all reality, that does not move the needle. I need to be getting more leads and selling more jobs. And once I realized that, I was like, all right, this is dumb. I'm just going to pay somebody the $2,500 it costs to get the website and have them build it as a pro, so that I know that it's done correctly right out the gate. Because here's the thing with website and SEO. What is the only thing certain about it?
It's going to change.
If you want your website to rank, what's the time frame that you're looking at?
Oh, 6 to 9 months.
It's a long-term
Minimum.
strategy, right?
Yeah.
So the way I see it is, like, either do it fast if you're going to do it, and if you know how to do it, or pay the pro to get it done, delegate that, and then go focus on the next most important thing to drive the business. Yeah. But where I see a lot of people go wrong is, it's like tinkering for weeks on end on the website, when you could have just outsourced that and then focused on going and knocking on doors, handing out flyers, picking up the phone, calling builders, picking up, like, doing whatever you need to do to drive leads, because that's what's going to drive the business.
Yeah. And 99% of people will spend less than 10 seconds on your website. They either want to call you or fill out a form. And also, social media is quickly becoming the new website in terms of people like looking you up for reputation. And I'm not saying Google's going away. Like, you still need to have an amazing Google presence and reviews and reputation there. But in terms of like return on your investment and time when you're starting your business, you would be better off going social media. Some of, like, Gym Launch, it's not like we're kind of comparing different types of businesses, but Gym Launch was doing $1 million a month before they had a website. We know, I mean, all of y'all have probably talked to multiple millionaires, construction, blue collar businesses, that either they didn't have a website or it looked like something that was built in 1998. So, like Austin said, don't spend 6 to 8 hours tweaking your website when there's way better things you could be doing to make money. If you really feel like you need one to have one, it should be very simple, and it should get them to call you, fill out a form, and learn that you're trustworthy.
Yep. And Andy, I see over in the comments, yes, you're absolutely right. You got to have the money to pay for a pro to do it up front. Absolutely, you have to. And if you are operating on a budget and you're just starting, I think my main encouragement is, don't spend a lot of time in the undecision of, should I use AI or should I not use AI to build the website? My recommendation is, build the freaking website one way or the other, get it done, and then go focus on getting leads and doing sales. Because right now, the website is not going to bring you leads. And based on what he just said, it's a long-term strategy. You have a better chance of ranking your website if you do pay the pro long-term. That's just my personal experience and opinion, right? And I think time better spent, unless you're a website pro, time better spent is on getting great at driving leads and great at sales. And for us, what we've seen work the best is
social media.
I'm biased, but man, I think everybody needs to get good at running Facebook ads if you want to get leads.
Big time.
It's the most predictable and easiest way from my experience. And all you need is a landing page. You actually don't even need that. You just need a form.
Yeah, my preference is lead forms, and you can make the ad from your phone, edit it from your phone, post it from your phone, and have people calling you for $30,000 jobs next week.
It's crazy. I'm bullish on this industry. I really am. If those of you who are out there who are getting into the industry, if you're operating, look, Jacob and I talk a lot about customer acquisition costs and lifetime value of the client. And like PE, yeah, they love HVAC and plumbing businesses because there's recurring revenue and da 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 da. But like forestry mulching and land clearing, when you can acquire a customer for, I don't want to
$500.
I don't want to put words into anybody's mouth here, but let's just say 500 to be on the safe side. When you can acquire a customer for $500 and you can go get a $10,000 job in return, that dog will hunt.
Pour the gas on that.
Pour the gas on that. That's why I'm bullish on this industry. So if any of you are out there, you're getting into it, you want to learn how to run Facebook ads, we've got some free stuff in the Owner Ops School group, which Jacob has helped out with as well. Jacob and I have put out a lot of land clearing, forestry mulching, fire mitigation related content over the last 8 weeks on these live streams. We do have that free school group, Owner Ops. It's school.com/owner ops, OWNR OPS. If you're just starting out, all the trainings in there are designed to get you to your first 15 to 20K. Everything is in there, right? How to come up with pricing, how to put a playbook together. We've got spreadsheets in there that you can use to track. We even go over how to set up your first Facebook ads. And yeah, we'd love to have you in there. So if you're still tuning in on this long live stream where Jacob came out to do in person, thank you guys for tuning in for this 8-week series. Curious to know, like, what other topics have we missed in this series? What do you want us to cover in the future? Let us know in the comments here below. Jacob, you want to add anything about Rise? Hydro seeding. Got a hydro seeding business too?
No,
Jeez.
I almost did. No, man, I've loved this. I've loved the conversations, the questions. Hopefully we will keep this going in another season here. But yeah, I would love for us to talk about things that y'all really want to know about. And so if you want us to do more things live, talk about more things live, please let us know. And yeah, obviously for us, it really only makes sense for you to come invest in us if you're already established and you are ready to go to the next level. Generally about the 50K a month mark is sort of the sweet spot, because if you're spending 5 to 10% of your revenue on marketing, then that's kind of right in the range of what we cost. Our average ROI, I used to say 7. After reviewing all 2025 numbers, it's 10x plus average. So if you put $1 in, you're getting 10 out. And so if you're at that level, I'd love to talk more to see if it would ever make sense. If you're not, Austin has it spelled out perfectly in Owner Ops on how to, from getting started to that 25 to 50K mark a month. So I would recommend going there.
Yeah, and we would love to have you there. It's free to jump in. So if you're getting into the business, a lot of these conversations here that Jacob and I have challenged me to even refine our internal process in our system. So I'm thankful that you've spent Friday mornings doing the live streams. It's been a lot of fun. And I'm a firm believer that iron sharpens iron. And that's what the premise of the school group is on. So it's like, if you want to be around other people who are actually taking action, jump in there. It is hosted on School. It's an app. Some of you have the questions of like, should I sign up for this? Is it going to scam me? What is it? Right? It's a simple app that you can download on your phone. It allows me to record some training sessions, go over our process. I provide some free video trainings in there. We have guest recordings like these recordings with Jacob. We put the replays in there. We include things like checklists, pricing sheets, spreadsheets, and templates that you can use to go get your first 15 to 20K in the land clearing or forestry mulching business.
And you can avoid all the turds in the Facebook group.
Oh man.
That's why it's in School and not on Facebook, because then you don't have to deal with all that.
And here's the thing, like, you guys decide to jump in and join. Like, Jacob and I are generally positive people. I think we're also realistic, but like, we're not going to let the group go down a negative route. Like, you won't find people in there complaining about people are underbid. No, it's like, we're pushing the industry to make the industry better. right? And a lot of like, I think some people who join think that this is going to be like the magic wand, like, oh, I'm going to jump in owner ops and I'm going to do the training and like, it's going to like teach me exactly how to, it's going to run my business for me. And that is no way, shape or form the answer. Like you're going to get the, how I price my jobs, how we go and estimate, how we track, how we operate a playbook, but it's work. It's work. It's business, right? I was watching a video last night of one of the ACQ trainings, and this girl was saying something to Alex, and she was like, "I think I want to do another business because like it's just hard right now." And he's like, "What do you mean? It's of course it's hard. Like every single phase is hard." And so I think once the frame shifted for me that this is going to take work to grow this business, it's going to be work at every single stage. And ask Jacob, like you're living proof of it. You've committed to something for how long? 5 years now. You've grown to different stages. You have how many employees at the business? 20 employees. Has it been easy?
No.
Does it get any easier?
Nope. Just new hard.
So like, here's the thing. We're all weird and wired in our own way. If we weren't, we'd just go get the corporate job and be fine with the 40 hours and the steady paycheck. But for whatever reason, we're all wired to be entrepreneurial. If you're still listening to this live stream, you probably have that bug. And in a certain phase of life, I just realized that bug wasn't going away. So I may as well just like go head on and give it my all. And if that's you, if you want to jump in and put in some work, then we're going to give you the templates and the checklists that you need to follow that will help you along the way. But this isn't going to be the like wave the magic wand and you're going to have a forestry mulching business right out the gate without putting in work. So I just have to preface that, right?
Yeah.
We are giving away a ton of free resources in there, but you got to implement them. The people who are getting results are the people who are taking action.
Big time.
Yeah.
Somebody asked if they can join Owner Ops as a junk removal business.
So I would encourage you this, like when I made a decision to really focus in, all the content's built specifically for forestry mulching and land clearing. Like if you're running a skid steer and a forestry mulcher, or if you're running a chipper, like out here in the West, it's designed specifically for that. And so I'm hesitant, kind of put on the spot right now. Up to this point, here's where I would encourage you. If you're in junk removal, go check out Steve Hunsaker's Home Service Accelerator. Because, and the reason I say that is because when I'm thinking about building these systems and these processes, it's all tailored towards a high ticket blue collar service with a machine. And it's in the context of forestry mulching and tree service. Excuse me, forestry mulching and fire mitigation, right? Like machines that can clear land. And so all the content's going to be based on that. And I'm not going to waver from that. So like, I'll never be being like, hey, here's how you do it in the junk removal business. Why? Because I've never done it. And I don't claim to be everybody's guru. I have a process that I've built very specific to Bear Claw, which is a land clearing business focused on serving fire mitigation customers in the Western United States. And I've also helped a business down in Texas grow on the land clearing side for doing, cedar removal and property improvement. And I'm very confident in that process. And so therefore I'm willing to teach on that. Outside of that, like I can't tell you anything about junk removal because I've never done it. Could I go figure that business out? Yes, I'm confident enough to do that, but I'm not going to go act like I know how to do it. So you would be way better off going to someone like Steve who has built a process built on lower ticket items. And that's just the differentiation. So here's what I'll say. I'm not going to like not let you in the group. It's more so if I see conversations start taking place about junk removal, I'm just going to ask those people to leave because we have a very specific, like there's a narrative inside of this group and it's all about land clearing, forestry mulching, fire mitigation.
Yeah.
How can we run ads, sell deals, build teams around higher ticket service businesses with heavy equipment. Cool.
Very cool.
Guys, thanks for joining. Anything else?
We're good.
Okay. We're going to wrap it up here. And Jacob and I are going to talk about what this looks like in the future. And at a very minimum, we will do another live stream at some point. We're not committing to weekly at this point, but if we do, we will be sure to let you guys know. If you have any other topics that you want us to cover, please jump in the school group and post those topics in there. We'd be happy to cover them. But thanks again for tuning in to another episode of the OWNR OPS podcast and an 8-week series with Jacob Neffendorf on the land clearing live stream. And we appreciate you guys. We'll see you next week, back to the regular cadence on the podcast. Don't forget, guys, work hard, do your best, never settle for less.